there is nothing on the store that's compelling me to want to play my Switch 2 at the moment. It's been sitting in the dock for weeks now. But you mentioned Switch 2. Let's just dive straight into it, shall we? Our first impressions. We've sat with it for a little while. Now the honeymoon phase has kind of worn off a little bit. I might as well go first.
Yep.
The honeymoon phase for me wore off second or third day, if I'm being completely honest with you. Mario Kart's a great game. It's a great game. Don't get me wrong. It's a Mario Kart game. Fun. But there was nothing that wowed me about it. And there is nothing on the store that's compelling me to want to play my Switch 2 at the moment. It's been sitting in the dock for weeks now. So I bought this knowing that it'd probably be a bit dry up front, but we've got Donkey Kong in a couple of weeks, and then I think Metroid Prime 4 the month after, so I think it will eventually pick up. But let's just talk about that launch day. I'm going to go straight into this. That setup process is bollocks.
Oh, God.
What the hell? Wow, I've never seen a more...
QR code.
I'm not even talking about that, and that part's bad enough. I'm talking about, hey, let's transfer your data, and you're thinking, oh, how nice of them. No, you've got to use the official power brick. You can't just use a convenient USB-C cable, which I've got a ton of right at my desk. No idea. I had to go downstairs, turn my Switch on, make it, connect it to the dock and all this stuff, because mine's all hardwired around my unit and everything. Find another plug, make sure they're within Bluetooth range and all this bollocks. It was horrible. But we got there. Yeah, not one of the better setup experiences. But hardware-wise, it definitely feels a lot more premium than the first one. Much more comfortable, only because it's, an inch or two bigger. But that thinness, I didn't notice this with the first Switch, but having played the PlayStation Portal for a little while now, there really is no ergonomics on the Switch. It's a hard machine to hold for prolonged amounts of time.
It's not comfortable at all. You consider the Steam Deck OLED is considerably more weighty. It's so much nicer to hold because it's obviously got the grips. And,
exactly.
There's at least that grip form factor around the edge. I didn't have to do like the wing, like the Portal. But it's especially when you're playing Mario Kart. And Nintendo, you've really got to. Can we just have someone take Nintendo to like court or something, and unificate the button system on these bloody things? Why is it that, the control system is A is B? Yeah, it's reverse.
It's just I think it's a Japanese thing.
Annoying.
I specifically remember on Metal Gear Solid on the PS1. That was the first time I ever experienced it. Because on the old PlayStation, PS1 games, X was proceed, and then triangle was back. But somewhere over the years, circle has become back. However, in Japan, it was always the other way around. Circle was proceed and X was back. So over the years, PlayStation's kind of followed the Western suit, but Nintendo refused to do it. They're just doing their own thing. So it does mess with you when you jump between systems. Especially with my missus
Tiny
played
buttons.
it, and she's like, why does it keep going back? Oh God, holding the gas button for Mario Kart really kills your thumb. It's just such a precise button that really gets in there and stops it from flowing blood. But yes, I haven't played too much in tabletop. I did get the Pro Controller, very comfortable Pro Controller. Lovely materials, I'll say. The sticks are buttery smooth, probably the smoothest sticks I've ever felt. But yeah, at the moment, it's just lack of games for me. Lack of games that's doing it. I still feel more compelled to play the PS5 than the Switch right now.
I think for me, that launch day new console feeling, I don't think I even ever really got it. It was very weird. It was a weird feeling that, it was more... What was more interesting was the anticipation of it arriving than once it had arrived. And can you imagine if they didn't have Mario Kart World on that launch slate? Because it would have been really, really bad. But they really needed another 2 main titles for a strong launch slate on day one, really.
Yeah. I think Nintendo are finally experiencing what Microsoft and Sony have already been through when they sort of did their most recent consoles, because they had the whole upgrade patch system, and Nintendo had to figure that out. But I think with the Switch 2, they've hinged way too much on those upgrade patches, because Nintendo are very much like Sony in many ways. You know, they've got one big exclusive sort of every quarter, or at least they did have it at some point. But this time round, it's like, oh, we're going to have upgrade patches for both Zelda games, and then Mario Odyssey got an upgrade patch, and, you know, Toad's Treasure Trove got an update patch. And it's like, did Toad's Treasure Trove really need an update patch? You know, it was a isometric treasure hunting game. You know, I love the game, but didn't really need one. So I think they're taking advantage of the audience a little bit in that regard. But, you know, we haven't had their sort of first showcase since the Switch 2 launched. They normally have a Nintendo Direct around September-ish time. So I think that's going to be the show where all eyes are on Nintendo for something, because it's a little bit dry out here right now.
Yeah. Just trying to think of some other things we should mention on it, really. I've not had a situation where I've ran down the Switch 2 in handheld mode down to, you know,
Same.
bottom of the battery yet.
Same.
There has been complaints about the battery life similarly to the original Switch. I've never took it anywhere with me yet. It's never left the house. So, you know, where that factor comes in, I'm not 100% sure. We tried the game chat experience, at least the audio side of it. I don't think it's worth investing a camera. It seemed
What's
all
close
right.
to buy, Mondo?
Yeah, well, it's a shame the Hori one was not high resolution.
720, yeah.
But
I mean,
that
look,
seemed to
game
work,
chat,
right?
it did the job. It did what it needed
Yeah.
to. I think it's cool that they finally implemented a native solution for game chat now. But there doesn't seem to be a fully fledged invitation system yet. Everything is done through the game rather than the dashboard. So, you know, on Xbox and PlayStation, 9 times out of 10, you'll hit either the guide button and invite a friend from a friends list. Well, you don't really have that on Switch yet. You've got to go into the Mario Kart menu, for example, hit online battle, and then figure out which one of those sub-menus you can invite a friend through. So it still does it in its own weird little way through the game.
Yeah.
Who knows? By Switch 3, we might have that. You know, I don't know. One can hope, one can wish, or maybe there's a firmware update in progress that they haven't announced yet. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, look, this is not something any serious gamer is going to use and rely heavily upon. It's let's play a few races of Mario Kart, which we did, and I think after the 5th, 6th one, I was like, all right, that was fun. I'm getting a little bit bored now. It's that's it, you know.
Yeah.
There was no depth to it.
Well, there wasn't a lot going on there, and apparently they've made the game worse through a patch. But we'll talk about that when it comes. We'll go properly into the Mario Kart in sort of a separate section. There was a few more things I wanted to mention. I was quite happy with the audio on it. I thought the speakers were firing out quite nicely. Crisp, clear audio for me. Got no complaints in that department. There was a lot made about this LCD screen experience. I'm not really... I'm playing it. I think you have to be really super conscious of what you're seeing on screen to complain too much about the way it outputs when you're spinning you know, like if you're... Maybe I haven't played the right game to see where this downfalls. Maybe in Cyberpunk it's really evident. I'm not sure.
So I think the vast majority of those complaints and people picking out those issues are those coming from the Switch OLED model. And obviously from an OLED to an LCD, you will notice the difference. The blacks aren't as deep, the refresh rate isn't as good, and obviously the battery life is impacted by having the older LCD screen. But, you know, if you dock it and you have an OLED TV, problem solved. So, are you... It's a weird one because, don't get me wrong, I love OLED. All my TVs in my house are OLED. But do I look at the Switch as that premium game experience to the point where I want an OLED? Like, if it had one, fine. But I've got a PlayStation, I've got an Xbox, I've got, a Mac and a PC. Like, if I really want that premium gaming experience, I'll take it over there. Because at the end of the day, you're going to get a great screen on freaking Mario Odyssey. Like, does it really translate? So it's a weird one. But I mean, battery life is probably a valid concern. Sure, it will improve battery life, but it'll also increase the price by $50 to $75. Or Nintendo, knowing them, $150. So you got to pick and choose.
That's it. My favourite way to play has been probably the kickstand with the Pro controller. Even though I bought a second-hand original Pro that sounds like it's going to creak every time I use it, like the plastic's going to fall off from the sound of it. It makes so much noise. You
do have quite a knack for the way you buy hardware, I've noticed over the years. It's just always a bit, you could have quite...
Pre-owned. I know, but you get a 2-year warranty. So, even now, easy I break
with
things.
Amazon, but yeah.
Well, I was going to say that one thing I am happy about, and I think I'd have been more disappointed if my OG Switch dock hadn't kaput, because it solved that problem. I can play my, updated on Switch, that it's moved enough that those really annoying frustrations with how dated the original Switch hardware was, that it's kind of at least pushed it up and modernized it, a tad. So that's kind of where kind of my head is around that. I think I would have been far more annoyed if I bought that console with a properly working original Switch. So my final thoughts on the Switch 2 then. I really got to base this down to the fact that it was circumstantial in a way, because my original Switch dock had given up the ghost, stopped working, couldn't play the game, couldn't play it on the telly. And the fact that now Switch 2 solves that particular issue, that was a bonus. And then I think where it's pushed it just far enough into that real frustration. Because I used to get so frustrated at how dated the OG Switch was in terms of its hardware. You play any third-party game, it was disastrous. It's at least got around that. But I know I'm not going to get the best experience, but it at least takes a lot of those games into the realms of what I would call as now acceptable realms of being able to play. Because some of the, the OG Switch stuff was absolutely terrible. Unless they did a bespoke port of that game, often they would run horrendously. So it's addressed that. But in terms of it being, this magical new experience, I mean, Nintendo have played it safe. This was the company that you could almost rely on for being ones to take a bit more of a chance, with things. And
the paint's not dry yet. A very lackluster launch, but they're going to bring out some cardboard thing that connects to Bluetooth that doesn't make any sense, that costs $100. So I think from that regard, it's not going to be much of an issue. It's just the first Switch was so successful. It checks so many boxes. It's like we don't have to make a handheld and a home console. We can kill two birds with one stone. Yeah. Everyone's got the libraries. It's all digital now. Let's just carry on going down this road. So I was never worried that it was going to follow suit like the Wii U did. I was more worried about, is it going to push the boat forward enough to give me a great version of what I already love? And it seems to check that box, Again, software isn't quite there yet, but Nintendo don't really disappoint when it comes to that. I'm sure we'll get a Smash Brothers Switch 2 update that'll improve a bunch of things. And that's a big hitter, people want that. I know that the remakes of Zelda Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom are greatly improved on this. There was no stable frame rates on the first Switch. So now they're hitting a stable 60, which is great. I've got Link's Awakening, so I do need to go through that. I did throw Mario Odyssey on. I was like, yeah, I might get back into this. And then, my God, I didn't realize how weird Mario's feels when you control him in that game.
Yeah.
So I was really put off, and I was like, oh, no, turned it off. I don't know.
Did you?
Weird. I don't know. Something didn't gel with me.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. We've got this thing for the next 7-8 years. They're going to release stuff for it. So
Yeah, definitely. I do feel like, though, I think the guys at Digital Foundry, I think it was Ollie Mack, was kind of speculating, like, was this really the next Switch? Or did Nintendo really do a bait and switch here? And this was the Switch Pro model, whereby they saw that units of Switch, there wasn't the slowdown they were expecting. And the Switch Pro perhaps could have been their natural, like in terms of a PS4 Pro-esque mid-gen refresh type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. But that the OG Switch, the units, it took so long for those sales to slow down. Yeah. And I wonder if they just thought, So I don't know. It could be interesting. We may see Nintendo go for a shorter cycle potentially, but I don't know. If that was the case, they could. And trust me, if they want to make money again, big money, because the opening weekend sales set a record for this machine. I
think we're at 3.5 million now. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's an idea for them, but they should do something. The next time they do something, I think it should be game changing.